We're taking one of the hottest trends in home decor and showcasing how easily you can bring it into your home.
That's right, flowers and home decor. We'll see how each of us does in our first Double Take Challenge. I'm Kim.
And I'm Chris, and you're watching the DIY Dish.
So it's no surprise that one of the hottest trends in fashion, decorating, and a whole lot more is that of the fabric flower, don't you think?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
It certainly is. And we thought we'd each take on a challenge, if you will, to create something for our homes with decorative fabric flowers.
So we ran into our local Joann Fabric and Craft store with two things in mind. You have to make flowers, and it has to be for your home. But as we've been challenged before, we couldn't do this together.
Oh, well, I knew exactly the aisle I was going to go for when I walked into Joann's. I headed for the felt because you can buy it off of a bolt. And sure, I could use small felt squares to do all kinds of projects, but for this one, I wanted yardage.
And me, I went to one of my favorite kinds of fabrics, that gorgeous Dupioni silk. Now, I still wasn't quite sure exactly what I was going to do with it, but I knew that if I bought a yard or two of it, I would figure it out at some point.
Right.
Can you relate to that?
Oh, absolutely. So you're ready to see what we made? Using these techniques we're going to show you today, we know you'll come up with all kinds of ideas on your own as well. And I started with a color scheme of mustard gray and fuchsia.
Yeah.
Okay, kind of
Beautiful.
crazy colors, I know, but I really wanted to brighten up an area in my home, and I knew that that would be the ticket. I first started by making this pillow, and here's what you're going to need. First of all, you'll need a ½ yard of any color felt, some polyester stuffing, scissors, your glue gun, a sewing machine, of course, needle and thread, and the downloadable pattern for the flower is found at the DIYdish.com.
Okay, so what'd you do?
Okay, so I picked up some felt,
Okay.
and I cut my size to 8.5 inches around, okay?
Okay.
So on both sides. Have the front and the back,
All right.
and I'll simply place those two together, take it to my sewing machine, stitch a 1/4 inch seam allowance all the way around until I get back to the very bottom, of course leaving a few inches opening so I can turn it inside out and then stuff it.
Okay.
Now, of course, you can make this in any size. Here we have it already stuffed. This was a 15 by 15 inch square. Okay, so once I have the background on my pillow done, now it's time for those flowers.
Fun.
Okay.
Okay.
So on this one, I decided to take a different color of felt, okay, just to add some contrast. And by downloading the design pattern at the DIYdish.com, I was able to cut out my largest flower simply by taking a pin to it and cutting around.
All right.
Now, with this pattern comes several different sizes.
Okay.
You've got the large and medium and smaller and even smaller than that.
Sure.
So you'll see here, I've got all different sizes of felt flowers that I cut out. All right, from there, now if I were to just place this flower onto the pillow, it would look okay, but it would be very flat.
Sure.
It wouldn't have a lot of dimension.
So how did you get it to poof up a little bit?
To poof up a little bit, love that word, right?
Yeah.
Okay, all I do, this is rocket science.
Yeah.
Okay, are you ready for
Yeah,
this?
I'm ready.
Okay, you're gonna pinch right in the middle there, take a little dab of hot glue, just like this.
No sewing.
No sewing on this
Wow.
one. And I pinch it just like that for a few seconds.
All right.
Can you handle that, Kim?
I think I can do that.
Okay, so once I have one done, I'm going to do another one
Yeah. All right.
and continue that same process.
That's
okay?
exactly what you need for the poof.
Exactly. And so once all of those are poofed, I simply take it, kind of just nestle them in there. Okay,
One
there's
on top
really
of the
no
other.
rhyme or reason to this.
Okay.
Okay, don't overthink. You
Yeah.
don't want to overthink this project. Pretty easy. And then simply glue it onto my pillow.
Wow.
Okay, so here we have an example right there where I've
Alright.
done that. Actually, on this one, I used the same color for my flower as I did for the background.
Yeah, I love that monochromatic look for sure.
Isn't it pretty?
Yeah.
And then on this one, I did the same thing, but I actually did the flowers, didn't have as many layers,
All right.
and was able to put them all over. Now, you probably want to know, how did you do
Yes.
this? Okay.
Yes, please
Very,
tell us.
very easy to do.
All right.
First of all, I cut about 1 1/4 inch strip.
Okay.
This is by about 10 inches.
All right.
1 1/4 by 10. And now I'm going to take my scissors and I'm going to simply fringe it. Okay, by cutting along one side.
Does it matter how much space is between each cut?
No, again,
Okay.
pretty
simple.
pretty
Yeah.
easy. Exactly. Continue cutting this until the entire piece is fringed. Okay. Once you're finished with that, okay, you have a nice little look there. We're going to actually take a little bit of hot glue once again, and I'm going to begin rolling it up.
Oh, okay.
And after every little bit,
Roll a little, glue a little, roll a little, glue a little.
exactly.
Right? Okay.
Which reminds me of a song.
Oh, no.
I'm just kidding. I won't sing this season.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So there we get to the very end of our flanged flower.
Okay.
Voila. Take some glue, add it down there, place it in the
And put it in
center of
the
my
center.
flower. Here, let
Oh
me
my
take a look
gosh.
at that.
I love
Put
it.
a little more glue in there, and you've got a cute flower center.
Oh, my
That's
goodness.
it.
I love it.
Easy, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I think.
Did I win the challenge?
Yeah, well, we'll see. Wait, we'll see what I do, right?
Okay, let's
No, well, I'm
take
not
a look.
quite ready with mine exactly, but I wanted you to see the
Figures.
process. It's a good thing we're sisters.
Yes.
So here's what I use. I actually started by taking about a quarter yard of
Okay.
that Dupioni silk, and I cut it into 2-inch wide bias strips. So here I'm taking the white. There's
Okay.
so many pretty colors of this silk that
There is. It's
I had a
beautiful.
hard time deciding. But I want to just lay it out like this, and then I'm going to just take my ruler and cut on the bias here at a 45-degree angle. Okay, I'm going to set that aside there. But I'm going to go about 2 inches now.
Okay, now Kim, is there a reason why you're doing this on the bias?
Yes, because it actually tends to curve better when the flower forms, and you don't have these crazy little hairs sticking out all over the place.
Okay.
I know that sounds a little funny, but you'll see what I mean in just a minute.
Right. Okay, that makes
Okay,
sense.
so from there, if I were to continue cutting those 2-inch strips, I now want to cut off the angles there.
Okay.
So I'm going to just take my ruler here, cut off at one angle, and cut off the other angle. Okay. And you're going to have about, probably a 10 to 12 inch length strip, and it really doesn't matter as long as you keep them all uniform. So I would
Sure.
go about 10-inch lengths from this.
Okay.
So again, 2 inches by 10 inches, and then you're good to go. Now from that quarter of a yard, I got about 12 flowers out of this. So there's a little bit of math for you if you're wondering
Yeah.
how much you're going to get out of it. Okay, so now taking one strip at a time, let's go ahead and put this white down just so that you can see my blue better. Okay, I decided I wanted to go with that turquoise, kind of a teal
it's
blue look.
beautiful.
Isn't it gorgeous? I love the sheen on that. Took it over to my sewing machine,
Okay.
and I set my stitch length to the longest length possible.
Yeah.
Because what I want to do is run a basting stitch along here.
So you could gather?
Exactly,
Okay.
exactly. So here it is, 2 inches wide. I do about a 3/4 inch seam here, and just run that long stitch on your machine. Now, if you wanted to do this by hand, that certainly is okay. But, you know, gotta love the machine. And I just did a bunch of them at the same time.
Yeah.
Now, keep your threads longer here because you want to be able to pull the bobbin thread, okay? So just pulling one of the threads at a time, again, that bobbin thread, just simply gather that around, just like so.
On both sides.
Okay, both sides. All right. Now here's the cool part, Chris. This flower is so easy. All right, pinch it right there where I gathered it.
Okay.
This 3/4 inch side that you see, that becomes the center of the flower. The rest of that 1 1/4 inch
Will come up around.
up around it, and
love
it
it.
becomes the petals,
I
right?
love it.
So now I've got these extra strings. I'm just going to simply, now you've got these long strings, right? I'm going to just simply wrap them around.
Okay.
There, one way.
Well, that's pretty clever.
And another way. Okay, and then I'm going to tie them together in a knot. Okay, there we go.
Okay.
All right.
I love it.
Go ahead and, here, let's see, those scissors. Clip off your extra strings.
Would you want to use the same color thread?
Yes,
Would that be helpful?
definitely. Use the same color thread for today's purposes. We want you to see the contrast, so yeah, good question.
Okay.
Now again, this side is your center. This side is your petals. See, all I had to do was smash that down gently. Okay, overlapping the ends there, and then kind of play with the center, and look how quickly you have a fabric flower.
That's pretty cute, Kim.
Yeah,
I
well,
gotta
thanks.
hand it to you. So what are you gonna do with those?
Okay, well, from there, I want a little bit of a frayed look,
Okay.
and this is why the bias is important, cutting it on the bias, because it curved nicely, of course, but now I can just pull there, and it frays, but you don't have all these loose threads all over the place.
Right.
That if you cut it on the grain, you would have that. So I'm just going to gently run my fingers along the edge.
Look how easy
and
that
fray that.
unravels, though.
Yeah,
That's really fun look.
real pretty, right?
Yes.
Okay, so I couldn't decide what color I wanted to go with this because I'm going to put it in my daughter's room, and she had this boring lampshade here. So I went with both the blues and the purples because who wants a white lampshade, right? I mean,
exactly.
come on. I mean, when you can have pops of color.
Yes.
So I went ahead and made a bunch of these. I mean, literally, how easy was that?
Yes.
It took me 2 minutes to do.
Yep.
And now I'm going to glue them
Oh, cute.
all the way around the rim and in layers, and take a look now at the finished product.
Wow, that is great, Kim.
Yeah.
I love it.
Well, every lamp needs a facelift, I think. So there you go. It's a home
Aw.
decor project made in a night.
I love it. Now that's pretty good, Kim. I have to give that to you. So there's our 2 takes on incorporating flowers into your home decor. And now we want to know what your take is on
wanna
it.
know.
Post your photos to our Facebook or Flickr pages, and we can't wait to see what you've made. To close, we want to thank Joann Fabric and Craft Stores for sponsoring this episode. Be sure to visit your local store like we did to find felt, Dupioni silk, and a whole lot more. And if you don't have one nearby, it's not a problem. Be sure to visit their website at joann.com.
Thank you for joining us today. We hope that you felt that creativity was served. Bye-bye.
Bye.